All right, guys. Hey, sorry for the video quality. I'm using my camera on my Mac. It's not my best camera, but I really wanted to jump on here real quick because we've been experiencing this wonderful tool called N8N. I hope you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, let me explain a little bit what it is. Basically, if you're someone that you're really looking to automate certain things in your business, you're trying to automate everything from how you handle emails or even how you send out email for marketing or whatever the case may be, or you just want something to handle some of your tasks or everyday tasks. This system is probably one of the most easiest things to run. It can get really complex, but I'm just going to show you a very simple tool, a very simple version that I'm using just as a test for you guys so you guys can see. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down. And so what you're seeing here is N8N. If you go to, it's n8n.cloud, that's the site that you go to. And in here, you'll, first of all, when you first start a workflow, the workflow is going to be completely empty. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new workflow so you can see. So the whole purpose of this is to create AI agents to be able to do some work for you. Now, I could walk through each step of how to do this, but the reality is you want to use these agents to be able to do certain tasks that are going to help you in your business. So I'm going to take you to the workflow that I currently have because that's probably easier because it's already built. So the first thing you'll do is you'll create an actual agent. When you click this plus sign, you can literally type in the word agent. And then you could select AI agent, and that's what I did. And so I created a single agent here. Now, the agent, all it's doing is it's using triggers and certain connections in order to be able to operate. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have memory, because when you type anything into it or you send anything to the agent needs to have some memory so that it knows what to reference as it's going through its tasks. So down here, you'll see there's a little option that says memory here. All you have to do is just click on the plus sign that's there, and then it'll have a drop down and you can select simple memory. That is the built-in memory in the system, so you can go ahead and add that. The next thing is what you want to do is you want to use a chat model, especially if you're going to be doing something like a simple task like writing a blog post. So you go over here to the model section. It's the same concept. There's a little plus sign, very similar to the sign over here, and then you can add a model. So I added ChatGPT because it was simple, and I already have an API key for that. So when I go in here, it says credentials to connect. It says open AI account. So when I click on the open AI account, I'll actually ask me to put in my API key, and I put it in there. And then I can select the model. I'm using GPT-4o Mini just because it's a lot quicker, less expensive, so I can run a lot more tasks. And then when I'm done with that, I now have a model, and now I have memory. And now the next thing is I need to output the information. Now I have a choice. I can output it onto the screen so I can see what's going on, or I can output it somewhere where I can get the information. So right here, it says email results. You can actually attach this using single sign-on, similar if you have Google Workspace and you're logging into everything with your Google Workspace. You can log into your Google Workspace here and then send messages to your email. So anytime you're using an AI agent, you need a trigger of some sort, whether it be a time trigger, whether it be an action trigger off of a software or something like that. There needs to be some type of trigger. When you're testing this, you could just do a simple chat trigger with the built-in chat feature. And so I just use the built-in chat to do that. Now, before I do anything else, we already know it's going to email me when it's done, but I'm just going to go ahead and add a field here. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to do a JSON output. Actually, no, I'm going to do manual mapping. JSON, sorry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave it blank. We're going to leave it there. So we're just going to add a JSON output. And then the JSON output has to, so right here it says fixed. We want an expression. And so what I want that expression to be true, let's say, which means that the task has been completed. And I'm all set there. So I go back to Canvas. So basically this thing, when it's done and everything works fine, it's just going to say true. It's just for me personally so that I can see that everything worked fine. All right, so now I'm going to go to the chat, which is down here. And I'm going to say create a story about a man walking in the park. Now, obviously, that's not something I would do for my business, but just to give you an example of how it works. Now, you want to label everything because it's, again, using a chatbot. So you want to label everything to where it makes sense to the agent. It knows what it's doing. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to say, create a story and email it. So now, because I've prompted it to email and I have send story email, it can make the reference point that it needs to also send emails. If I go check my email, I should have a story. So once upon a time in a quiet town, it's a bustling city, there lived a man, Henry. Just imagine that you go in here and you say, I have a business that sells books for children and I want to tell Actually, no. And I want some marketing material helps parents understand the importance of stories to teach children using the storyteller chatbot. Provide a quick story and relate to the importance of kids learning from stories. Email the results. Hit enter. Now, automatically the agent is going to start looking at the storyteller agent, and now it's going to be doing the story. All right. And then it executed and it sent an email. All right. So we'll have to see what the final result is. It looks like it did some thinking and then it created a full output. So let's see what the output is. Let's go here. The Magic Forest Adventure. Once upon a time in a cheerful little town, there was a little I'm curious. Every adventure, learn the stories have the power to teach. As Oliver journeyed through the forest, he faced challenges that required him to think creatively and work together with his friends. Through every adventure, he learned that stories have the power to teach, inspire, and bring people together. When Oliver finally returned home, he realized the magic of the forest was not just in the adventure. Oh, by the way, this part where it says this email was sent via N8N, you can actually shut that off. So, like I said, the purpose of this is it is just the very beginning. This is a very simple task, but I just wanted to share that with you real quick. I just thought about it right now because we've been using N8N for several clients. In fact, we have a client right now that we're using N8N to architect out a full automations flow from front to back of the company. And then obviously when we're done, because this specific client, they want to use more of a customized approach, we will be building a more customized solution for them. By the way, later on, I can show you a video where you can self-host N8N. So right now you would have to pay for all of the transactions in N8N, but you can self-host N8N for free. You can basically run it locally on your local machine or on a local server somewhere, or your own personal server in the cloud, and without paying for the hosting part of it. It's absolutely possible. It's easy to set up, and I'll have a video that shows how to set that up. So, all right. Well, I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.